tech technology. I'll start by showing you the general trends in terms of investment into Spain. Then a colleague from Fenin, the Association for Healthcare Companies in Spain, Carlos Sisternas, will give you an overview of the sector in Spain. And finally, we'll have a specific presentation about specific case of success of investment in Spain by Roche, precisely by Alberto Terracina. So I will start by sharing with you some insights into the general position of Spain as an investment destination in health technology. So I'm going to share my slides. There you go. So we're going to start by showing you the general figures of Spain as an investment destination. So as many of you know, Spain is the fourth largest economy in the EU, that is after Germany, France, and Italy, and is the 14th largest in the world, with a GDP of $1.4 trillion. This compares, in the case of Switzerland, to $113 for the Swiss economy. In terms of population, we have 47 million people. We are the second most visited country in the world in terms of tourists. 83 million came in 2019, and Excel Tourist is expecting that 2022 will tend to do the same figures, very similar to the ones in 2019, will be reached. And actually, summer 22 was a record year in terms of revenue for the tourism sector. So very good figures from tourism going forward. We have 21 companies under the Forbes Global 2000 largest in the world. And just to mention a few from Spain, if you look at the ranking, we have Grifols, Farmamar, and Miral, but also other companies in the sector of healthcare, like Cofare, Segurcaixa. And we have also, in terms of openness, if you take into account the exchange with the rest of the world in terms of trade, we are the second in Europe. Specifically, we have an openness ratio of 68%. That accounts for exports and imports in relation to GDP. Also, very prominently, we are a very big investor in Latin America. We have an investment stock of 42 billion euros in Mexico, 30 billion euros in Brazil, 15 billion euros in Argentina, 14.8 billion euros in Chile, 5.2 billion euros in Colombia, and 4.3 billion euros in Peru. So a lot of figures, but basically we are the second biggest investor after the US. Going on to the specificities of the investment into Spain from the rest of the world, you can see here two charts. So you can see the distribution in terms of origin countries. So US, the one on the left-hand side, the US being the biggest. You can see that Switzerland is the 8th. So some of you are joining from Switzerland, and you will see that Switzerland has a very big role to play as investor. I have to say that 2019 and 2020 saw a very big inflow because of three investments in the financial sector. It was the purchase of the stock operator BME by SIX, the Swiss group. Also, the Credit Suisse moved its headquarters for investment for banking in general for EU passporting from London to Madrid. And then Helvetia, the insurance company in Switzerland, purchased Caser, the Spanish insurance company. So in 2020, actually, Switzerland was the second most important origin for foreign direct investment to Spain, just after the US. So very big figures. And on the right-hand side, you can see the sectors. So if we go down to the ninth in relevance, we can see that is the pharmaceuticals, medical, healthcare, and biotechnology, and it accounts for 5% of the stock of foreign direct investment into Spain. Since the stock it accounts for 508 billion euros, this 5% is around 25 billion euros. So 25 billion euros invested in health and life sciences. Actually, I also have to say that there are a lot of international companies in that sector in Spain. There are 125 specifically. Actually, 60% of companies in the pharmaceutical sector are foreign companies, and they employ 40,000 people. So 125 foreign companies is a big share out of the 8,000 companies in the sector. And now talking about greenfield projects, so you can see here new investment projects initiated in Spain. with 5-year trends, and obviously 2020, due to the pandemic, was a bad year for everyone, including Spain. But you can see that the upward trend in 2021 is huge, to the extent to undoing the impact, the negative impact of the pandemic in 2020. And actually, you can see that for these new investments, according to the Market Financial Times ranking, Spain is third in terms of projects, capital expenditure, and jobs created, with 580 companies choosing Spain as an investment destination. We also have to mention venture capital funds like Ipsios, Serova Angels. A lot of them, the international big ones, are also present in Spain. And if you can see here the innovative high-end and startup greenfield projects. So that means out of the new investment into Spain, those that are focused on new technologies, innovation, and startups, which of course are the most relevant in terms of future potential for production in Spain. You can see that Spain ranks fourth, both in the general ranking on the left-hand side, and also on the innovative and high-end on the right-hand side. What I would stress, if you look at the chart and the figures, the fourth position is in terms of projects and capital expenditure, but it is very interesting to see the impact in terms of jobs. So if you look at the right-hand side, you see that the 10,000 jobs are even bigger than the third country, Germany. So of course, jobs are an indicator of how stable that investment is and how real it is, because sometimes what they only do is they spend, but they don't produce. In the case of Spain, it's a productive investment that you have. And going on to the business climate in general. So of course, one of the factors that you have to take into account is tax treaties, fiscality. So we have a lot of them with 96 countries and territories. We are the 9th most open country to foreign investment according to the OECD. We have very competitive labor costs. I always like we have to sort of nuance this factor, because it's not only about cheap labor costs. It's also about quality. So Spain has 180 universities, private and public, and it ranks 12th in the world in terms of scientific production, and 5th in the EU, with 3.1% global publications. So it is also because Spain is innovative, and also because we have a lot of postgraduate students. So we have a 47% share of population with university studies, as compared to 45% in the OECD. And also, of course, the technology parks, 80 technology parks and 800 public hospitals in terms of life sciences, that my colleague from Fenin will later elaborate on. And we also have a very good connection. It's on fiber optics, so it's 5G and telecommunications. And we always rank among the best, and usually the first, in terms of quality life for expats. So people like working in Spain. If you look at the barometer of business climate in Spain, you can see here that the biggest, so the most relevant factors in terms of why companies choose Spain as an investment destination are infrastructure. So very good infrastructure for transport. Also in second place, human capital, was also already mentioning university studies, research and development. In third place, quality of life, that I also mentioned, and market size, of course, a very big country. Of course, taxation is also relevant. I have to mention here that there is a deduction for research and development spending for up to 42% for research and development investment, 12% deduction in the corporate tax for innovation, and also up to 40% deduction in terms of social security contributions. And we, of course, also have a network of support with grants and loans from a national plan for scientific and technical research. And we also have institutions that actually give loans to companies that want to invest in research and development, including CEDETI. So that's the company, the public institution for big companies. And there is another one for SMEs, which is called ENISA. And now let me give you a little bit of background information about the Recovery, Transformation and Resilience Plan. So you know that the EU launched a 750 billion euro package for investments and grants to help the economies of the EU recover after the impact of the pandemic. In the case of Spain, we have 4 cross-cutting lines of action: green transition, digital transformation, social and territorial cohesion, gender equality. And if you look at the lever policies, you can see that the ones most connected with life sciences are the fifth one. So we have a modernization of SMEs, accounting for 6.2% and 16 billion in grants. We have promotion of science and innovation, that's number 7, with virtually 5 billion euros, which accounts for 7.1% of the overall expenditure. And then we have new care economy and employment policies with virtually 5%, and it's very specific for the life sciences sector. You have here the details of the programs, and going on to invest in Spain. So we are one of the 100 economic and commercial bureaus of Spain abroad. We are based in Bern. We cover the markets for Switzerland and Liechtenstein, but we have a central agency, Invest in Spain, in Madrid, that is responsible for helping international companies invest in Spain. You have a specific web page for life sciences. I will share it on the chat afterwards, so that you can all log in. And there you can find a lot of information on what Invest in Spain does for you. So of course, as shown here, they give advice to investors. They help you in searching locations. They give regional support, and they actually liaise with regional and municipal authorities. And they also identify opportunities. Going more in detail into what Invest in Spain does now, let me just mention some of the programs that they have. Starting with aftercare, so companies that are already invested in Spain are helped by the bureau, so including ours and the central agency, to make sure that they are so to speak happy in Spain, and to check whether they need anything. Second, we have InnovaInvest. That's a recent program for new regional development with 10 million euros in 2 rounds of 5 million euros for projects implemented before the 30th of June 2023. And we can help for between 50% and 72% of the capital of the project, giving up to 800,000 euros in help and support. Third, of course, we have the investor network with 100 bureaus. And up to 2022, we had a small technology fund for helping research development through the European Regional Development Funds. So this is all from my side. I will now give the floor to my colleague from Fenin. So Carlos Sisternas, the floor is yours.
Many thanks. Do you hear me? Do you see the presentation? Yes, I hope so. Is that okay?
Yes, we can, Carlos. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Many thanks, Juan Luis, and many thanks to ICEX-Invest in Spain and the Swiss Commercial Office in Spain. It's a pleasure to be here today talking with you. And I will try to make in this short time that I have, 15 minutes, quite a short overview of the healthcare technology in Spain and why Spain is a good place to invest. First of all, some figures that I would like to share with you is population. We are around 10% of the total European population, with a quite similar level of population above 65 years old, and with a very low fertility rate, and with, for example, one thing that we are not proud of is a quite high unemployment rate that we have in Spain. We have very good life expectancy, as 82.4 years in 2020. We are just below Japan, and we are expected to be the country in the near future who has the oldest population in the world, or at least this is what is expected today. With a good health status in the country, we have, as we are getting older, more and more chronic diseases and multiple pathology people they are living with. This is business for our products, and the population coverage is universal. We have what we call an universal coverage, that is a kind of beverage model. And one of the problems that we have is that as we have no copayment except for medicines, it means that in the population this is a lack of awareness of the cost of healthcare, because you are going to a hospital you pay nothing and you don't realize that there is a hidden cost in there. The cost for health or researchers are lag behind, but if we compare with OECD, health spending and doctors per capita are above this average. We have a very good infrastructure for innovation. We have as much as 80 in the regions, research centers, cluster, institute technologies, and etc. And this is a growing area of our country. We have more than 800 hospitals, from which there is around 200 that are tertiary hospitals of the highest level. And there is a good collaboration between these hospitals and the healthcare centers and the research places that we have here. We have good access to biological samples, a wide network of technology transfer offices, R&D centers, and universities. And we are the world leader, and this is something that we can be proud of almost 20% of all the European donations are done in Spain, and we are representing 6.4% of the donations worldwide. That this is once again a leading country, absolutely. High qualified workforce and the favorable cost-benefit ratio of human capital is important. I should say that the cost per hour compared with the rest of Europe, especially with the average, is lower, and then the production costs are reduced for this less costly hour that we have. And it has been also said by Juan Luis, but we have an excellent quality of life. Spain is one of the top 10 countries in terms of quality of life, and every year many foreigners choose Spain as a place to live and work. I would like to go now to some details of the Spanish market rules. That is sometimes quite a little bit complicated. If we take that the basic legislation and the regional cohesion is in hands of the Ministry of Health, I would say that regarding cohesion, is still some room to improve. I think that is not exactly the same to be in what we call the empty Spain in Castilla to get some technology wherever, or you're living in Madrid capital or Barcelona capital. This is something that it's improving, but this is still far from being perfect. And regarding the let's say where the money is in the different regions, and it means that when you have to do the business, you have to travel and you have to go to every one of the 17 regions that we have here, where all the budget has been transferred and all the decisions that are taken in the regions are very important for the business. I mean that we have no centralized body for the market access, but you have to go country by country, region by region, and you have to go there to every hospital or every health center or etc. In order to introduce or to arrive to the market, you need to go to travel and to make many visits, and you have to go one by one. It's a kind of battle, not a single organization, as for example UK, there you have the NICE, or France, where you have centralized systems to introduce your technology. You have to go here if you have 17 different countries in a single country in order to introduce your technology. The budgets are usually insufficient, and this is not after the crisis, but before the crisis. We always had the problem that the budget that we use is the real cost of the real budget. It's a little bit above 3% of the theoretical budget, and this is something that we are living with for many years. And as I said before, into the technology, it means that you have to go center by center and region by region. We have, for this reason, some inefficiencies in resources management, because you have to deal with many stakeholders, and this is something that is consuming time and money. And the purchasing models are sometimes somewhere based in price, and we are trying to Fenin. We are trying to explain that you have to consider not only price but quality and services as the main reasons to choose concrete technology or the other. We have very high qualified healthcare professionals, and there is sometimes a lack of integration between public and private medicine. If you perform a test or a diagnostic test in one private hospital, and then you move to a public hospital, for sure you will have your test repeated or your diagnostic imaging repeated. Regarding the budget, as 2022 is not finalized, I will go to the last year that we have the figures closed. It is 2020, where we have almost 123,000 million euros as the total health expenditure. And this variation between what part is public and each other part is private is not changing, it's almost flat every year, but could be slightly gaining some share, the private part, that is between 73.5% is public healthcare and 26.5% is private healthcare. It means that most of the big business of the industry is in the public side, and then 26% is in the private side. This is, I said before, is slightly growing, the private side, but it's expected to be quite the same for the next years. And if we take the total healthcare expenditure per capita, considering the public plus the private health, we are at an average of 2,594 euros per capita. That is more or less in the European average. And the investment in healthcare technology of over the healthcare budget in 2021 was around 13%. This is a strategic and essential sector. We have more than 500,000 references of products and devices in the country. We have around 1,000 companies, from which 500 companies are manufacturers, and the turnover for 2021 was 9,500 million euros, with a 7.5 growth compared with 2020. We are representing the 0.8% of the total gross domestic product, and we are giving employees jobs to around 30,000 people, and we are considering that we have for every direct job something like 4 or 2.5, 3.5, sorry, indirect jobs. That is a total of 100,000 indirect jobs, and the exports are 3,702 million euros, with a 4.3% increase in comparison with 2020. But also a good news for us is that exports are growing every year. In the other side of the bad news is that Spain has a negative trade balance, probably where we are one of the last countries in Europe who has a more, let's say, unequal trade balance, and we are importing as much as 2,036 million euros every year. It means that most of our purchases are coming from the other countries. This is the evolution of the different sectors of Fenin. We are organized with sectors that are around concrete technology, and this slide that is coming from 2021 is reflecting what had happened in 2020, where we had the crisis of the COVID. You can see here that most of the sectors are growing quite a lot, because as we have a decline, for example, in surgeries, or a decline in many activities, because most of the hospital production came to the side of COVID. That's why many sectors are growing a lot, as dental, for example, that was almost stopped during the crisis, or ophthalmology, and you can see here that is growing a lot. For example, in vitro diagnostics is still growing, 6.7%, but if you take the growth from 2019 to 2020, we had a growth of almost 50% of the market. And if you take technology and clinic information system, this is ventilators, imaging, TCs, or magnetic resonance, or accelerators, or etc. We had a very big growth in 2020 because we have to install in the hospitals TCs or ventilators in the emergency room and in the chirurgic areas and etc. And as we have invested a lot in 2020, now we have this decline of 27%. Then I would jump to another topic, and now speaking a little bit about of a research development that we have in 2021, and we make a very important document trying to understand how is the situation of our manufacturing in the country, and we analyze the general situation, the human resources and training, collaboration, R&D, international analysis of the main reasons, and etc. Then, two main conclusions that I would like to share with you today is what is the manufacturing in our country. Number one is single-use product. It's not surprise, that was expected. Electromedical devices was the second, and in vitro diagnostics the third. And then we have other technologies that are being manufactured here in the country. And as the main conclusions, 16% of the manufacturers were planning to invest in new production centers. This is good news. We have manufacturing all around the national territory with very qualified employment sector. And we have very good collaboration with universities, research centers, clusters, etc. 76% is mean that the most or the majority of our manufacturers are investing in R&D, and we have a big commitment to digitalization of this industry, 75%, and a big majority of our manufacturers are exporting their products. The company's size turnover, you can see here from 2026 to 2021 that we are getting a little bit bigger, okay? But in spite of that, still we are a country where we have the 10% of the big companies and 90% are for medium-sized company to micro enterprise. This is our world today. Most are SMEs industries in our country. And regarding where these companies are located, number one is Catalonia with 35%, Madrid with 21%, and you have Comunidad Valenciana and Basque Country, where you have also some other spots of manufacturing, but more or less it's some manufacturing all around the country. 68% of the manufacturers are with the Spanish capital. 14% are multinationals installed here with our multinationals company with Spanish, let's say, investment. The other ones, this 6% is multinational with foreign capital. We have another 12% of companies that are in relation or have a spot activity or etc. 30% of the manufacturers belongs to a business group, and this is funny enough, 70%, it's a big amount of them are family companies in the country. Then regarding regulatory, we have the Spanish Medicine and Healthcare Products Agency, the Agencia Española de Medicamentos y Productos Sanitarios, that is the state agency that is attached to the Ministry of Health, and those are responsible for guaranteeing the quality, safety, and correct information on medical devices. We have a single notified body, that is the notified body 0318, that is for the evaluation and the conformity of medical devices. And we have been recently accredited for the certification of the medical devices, MDR, and this agency also, this notified body also asked for the certification of IVDR, but still we haven't this being granted, and we have to wait a little bit for. We, as the region of Europe, we are under the MDR and IVDR regulation. We have some grace period for these products. In sometimes it's until 2026, or in a concrete case, for example, the housemaid reagents or something like that, it could be arriving this grace period until 2027. Those are the clusters that we have in the country, many of them. And as I said at the very beginning, this is something that is growing every day. And we have a lot of places to develop your technologies, to be with your friends or network or sharing technology or whatever. And also we have an important group of auxiliary industry that is helping our manufacturers to complete their processes of, for example, sterilization or whatever. And we have a very interesting chain of network of these companies in the country. Regarding Fenin, very short comments. Our mission is to highlight the value of health technology, and we are representing the interest of the sector in the appropriate forums, and we are encouraging the free competition and safeguards of the market unity. Fenin has been inaugurated as much as 45 years before. We are representing around 500 different firms of manufacturers, importers, and distributors. And as I said before, majority are big companies, and majority are small companies, and there is less big companies. We are offering the opportunity to participate, to have a network with a community of companies. We have a special department regarding ethical and transparent environment, and we are developing in collaboration with MedTech Europe to the development and the implementation of the business code. We represent the health technology sector in front of administration, health professionals, societies, and etc. We are dealing a lot with regulatory framework, especially in these times where it's changing so much. We are being the voice of the sector with the media and social network. We are participating in many activities to improve the environment, promoting innovation, and leading the international presence of industry. Almost done. Okay. We are members of the main business associations in the country. The Spanish Business Association is CETOE, and also with the PYME, AENOR, Fomento, and IDIS or Lastia. We are members of the advisory committee for the national healthcare system. We are members of the General Council of the Institut Catalán de la Salud and in other associations. And we are members and we are represented at the board of MedTech Europe. This is the European Association of Medical Technology Industry, and this is covering in vitro diagnostics and medical devices. We are members also of COSIR and members of the board of COSIR. COSIR is taking care of technologies or information and communication, imaging and radiotherapy, and these other two associations are from the dental side. We are organizing 14 sectors of activity by products, and we have two horizontal sectors that are dealing with debt. This has less activity today because now the DSO average in Spain is around 60%, It could be for a German guy, this is not a very good figure, but for us, it's a great figure. And now we were coming from some years ago with DSOs of more than 350 days. You sell today, and you had to wait for a year to get your money in your pocket. But this is history, and now this is getting much better. And also we have a sector of manufacturers, exporters, and small companies. And this is all from my son. Many thanks. And if there is any question, I'd be very happy to answer after with the question time.
Thank you, Carlos. So before you give the floor to Alberto, exactly, just for people to know that you can send us your questions through the chat. So I've already shared with you the link to the specific webpage for Life Sciences of Invest in Spain, and there you can share your questions. You can send them to me if you like.
Many
thank you, Carlos.
I will then give the floor to Alberto Terracina from Roche, who's going to explain his part of the business. The floor is yours, Alberto.
Thank you very much. Just a second. I will share. Okay. So first of all, thank you very much, Carlos, and thank you for this opportunity to share our positive experience in Spain, Roche experience in Spain. Just in a few minutes, you will see why we are here and we are committed and we are investing in Spain. Carlos, Juan Luis, and Carlos very well illustrated the environment and very good place to be. And also in a few minutes, you will see why we are and we want to be and continue to be a very active player in Spain in a health economy. First of all, let's talk about Roche. I'm not sure you all know what we are and what we do here in Spain. We are here more than 70 years, which per se means that we firmly believe this is a place to be, and we are continuously increasing our presence and activities here. In the left side of the screen, you see all our what we call global activities, which are activities that we are doing in Sant Cugat near Barcelona, and I would say they are high quality activities. Our activities in Spain are I would say high tech activities. We serve the global functions here, and we have I would say absolutely everything in terms of again of activity research and development, customer support, software engineering, and all you can see and read in the left side. We also have local activities, which are concretely our Roche Diagnostics SL affiliates and our diabetes care affiliates, and you can see here this is more commercial activities for the healthcare system and specifically also for diabetes care. And in the right side, we have regional EMEA LATAM, that's according to our organization activities. We do for EMEA LATAM, the logistic export compliance activities, and also more specifically, we are an hub for a customer support center, and for diabetes care, we have a customer services for all the countries that you can see in the right side and the bottom. So really our presence here is complete, and our belief that this is one of the best and most attractive environments in Europe, I would say, exactly as Juan Luis was at the beginning of this presentation was explaining. And more in detail what Roche Diagnostics does in Spain, or what is our contribution, actually how we do contribute to this country. On the left side, in real, let's say, numbers, our turnover is almost 300 was in 21 almost 340 million for let's say Spanish economy, it's we would define this as a big company. Most important, we employ almost 1,400 people, and as you can see, as you see before in the slide before this one, 1,400 specialized, skilled people that are eager and really want to come here and work. Juan Luis mentioned the excellent balance, excellent environment, and an excellent quality of life you find here. And this is translated in 1,377 people working for Roche and wanted to work for Roche. Another important detail of our presence in this country is that we generate business for approximately, slightly more than 1,000 million euro in 2021. Our turnover, not only what we sell here, but also what we generate in turnover and our purchasing gives this number of economical activity that you can imagine what is the positive impact in the Spanish labor market. And then in the center of this slides, you see our specific contribution in the health system. We are maybe the numbers might not say a lot to you, but let's say that the 247,000 digitalized image, which means 60 days of improvement in diagnostic biopsies. Translation in something that might be understood is just that the quicker you give a result, the better and the higher is the probability that you just give to the patient more chance to cure the disease, which is, by the way, the main objective and our reason to be as companies. By the way, I didn't mention, but it's clear we are Roche Diagnostics is part of Roche Group, which is a Swiss company, and our first and most important statement for us is that the patient is just in the center, as you can see here in this slide, of our activity. About donations, blood donations, and about package diagnostic sent. All this is just a very quick information about what we do and how important is the healthcare system for us, and why we are extremely compromised with this sector. And just to illustrate this, what's the meaning of that? Talking about investments as a finance person, I think there are two big field of investments. One is the typical, and we will see just in a few minutes, the money, the capex investment. Again, Spain is absolutely a good place, and you will see in a minute how we consider and how Roche consider this country as a great pole of attraction for investment, and much more a pole of attraction for talented people. Just have a look on the left side of the slide. 35 nationalities are here in our company. 35. It's really a lot of diversity, which is one of the pillars of our company. Diversity, inclusion, and a place where you feel actually professional, realized. They come, they want to be, and they find here a good balance, work life, quality life, and job opportunities. The way those skilled people that I mentioned in my first slide, where we do a lot of high tech, those people prepare and develop software digitalization of the health system and provide this to the global and regional affiliates and the company as a whole. So 1,377 people with 35 nationalities that are here. We invest in them. We want to keep them because we clearly know that they are, as I say here, the architect of our success. In the upper side of the company, of the slide, you see the gender of our people. We are working very hard to balance this this still unbalanced split of male-female. We are working very hard on that. It's not easy. It's not only about us. It's about the easiness to find skilled people. I mean, but that's our one of our target. And on the right bottom part of the slide, you can see the age of our people, depending on the diabetes care of function. We have a lot, if you see a lot of millennial, 60%, for example, of millennial in those, especially in the high tech and the digital activities of the company. Clearly, there is where we have most of the people wanting to be, and those digital engineers, data engineers, and so on, that find their way, and they see that there is a very much development. So one of the, I would say, clear example of what Carlos and Juan Luis were mentioning about a place to be, a place to invest, a place to develop is here. People that want to come and we want to invest in them. The next one, yes, the next one is what might interest you in real terms of what Roche is prepared and what Roche is doing, Roche Diagnostics is doing to clearly commit and really, let's say, show a long-term willingness to stay in Spain, where I can say, by experience on the years that I'm working in this industry, that the healthcare sector, the healthcare industry, is most probably one of the most attractive industry in Europe, in Spain. Here, maybe just to mention, there are the top 5 most important hospitals in Spain are on the global world standards, where we, Roche, we are going and we are doing our trials, we are collaborating, and we are placing our technology and our R&D. So it's really a place where we find what as Roche we need for that. Very quickly, our last, the newest investment is this 50 million, where we enlarge our campus in Sant Cugat, again near Barcelona. We build new buildings, new place, and a very attractive pole where we wish to attract the new talents and the talent that we have in Spain and in Spanish universities. 50 million, actually slightly more than 50 million, is where we have here. And again, we have here, it's not just buildings, it's just where we have R&D, we have labs, and we have all we need for future development, future and more, even more stronger presence in this country. Another element I would like to mark is the investment 2023, where we are planning. We are actively renewal our equipment, our technology to customers. Our business bet here is to provide the Spanish market of the latest technology, and being able to provide to the hospital the most of the last technology to provide their service to the patient, which again, and I want to stress again, it's our main target and main objective as Roche, putting this patient in the middle. And as you can see here, in general, we are investing more than 250 million, which is a clear example and a clear sign of our commitment to Spain, to Spanish economy, and to the healthcare system. And with that, I bring back to Carlos. Just a second, please.
So thank you, Alberto.
Just a second.
So people are shy and haven't sent any questions. So let me give a little bit more information general and specific, and then ask you a question to both of you, Carlos and Alberto. So I would like to mention that Spain is now one of the fastest growing countries in Europe. So in 2021, we had growth of GDP of 5.1% as compared to 4.2% in Switzerland. And the IMF forecasts that Spanish GDP will grow by 4.3% in 2022 as compared to 2.2% in Switzerland and between 1.5% and 3.2% in Germany, France, and Italy. So the fastest growing big economy in Europe in 2022. And also to mention specifically investments in this sector over the recent years. So Merck, for example, has its global growth hormone production in Spain. Bayer has its global aspirin production in Spain. Celgene has its first set up its first research center outside the US in Spain. Lilly has a research center for medicinal chemistry in Spain. GlaxoSmithKline has a research center for tropical disease in Spain. And Pfizer has a European biometric center in Spain. Novartis, the other big Swiss pharmaceutical company, established a Biome Global Innovation Hub in Barcelona in 2020. And just to give another very interesting operation in November 21 was the biggest operation in the biotech sector in Spain, with Vifor Pharma, the Swiss company, purchasing Sanofi Therapeutics, which is in the sector of progressive vascular calcification disorders. I'll have to mention that Verfen, which is a multinational from Spain doing in vitro diagnostics, is the biggest exporter to Switzerland in that field, and that bilateral trade exchanges between Switzerland and Spain boomed in 2021 due to the production of the Moderna vaccine against COVID-19. And it was an arrangement between Lonza, so the manufacturer in Switzerland, exporting the basic ingredients to Rovi, so the pharmaceutical company in Madrid, which we did our industrial bottling of the vaccine and exported it worldwide. So we have a very, very strong exchanges in the biotech sector and in vaccines between Switzerland and Spain. Develop a production for medical devices. And now my question to Carlos and Alberto. So you all mentioned the strengths of Spain, and in the case of Alberto, he elaborated on the decision by Roche to set up in Spain. But I wanted to ask you, so I know clinical trials are very big in Spain. So we are one of the world leaders and European leaders in clinical testing and clinical trials. Also, Switzerland has a high dependence on in vitro diagnostics in terms of imports. So those two sectors I think are very interesting. But I don't know if you can elaborate on where you see the further elaborate on the potential areas for investment into Spain. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll take the floor, short comments, and I would say also that I have to say, Alberto, that I'm impressed of your presentation. Really nice, congratulations. It's really nice to hear how much we are investing and doing here in the country. Regarding your question, first of all, one of the areas where I do believe that we have some capabilities to grow with is in vitro diagnostics. We have a lot of industry developing here, technology as Grifols, BioKit, and etc. And in the other hand, with the crisis, not only Spain, but everywhere, we discover we are depending too much from the outside production, especially with Asia. And then we are fully focused from Fenin to try to get more and more manufacturing, not only in Spain, but also in Europe, in order to have all these facilities here. And in the future, we should depend less and less from the rest of the world. I don't think it's an easy task, but the good news is that I think that now, today, we have realized how important it is. We are now very depending of tourism, other areas of business in the country that will last, I don't know how much, and then we have to focus in industrialization, manufacturing, and taking companies to our grounds. And yes, I do believe in my concrete case, because I know very well the area of the in vitro diagnostics, that there is a room for in vitro diagnostics to grow. And I see also single products market with, for example, all the technologies that were used for COVID, we developed a lot. We have now production facilities in the country, for example, for tests of COVID and in general with molecular diagnostics. And still, I do believe that we have a lot of opportunities in this field. But probably there are many others that this is the one that I don't know.
Well, just very quickly in line with Carlos, I think besides unfortunately the COVID, which destroyed and changed completely policy and politics from a political point of view and also economical point of view, in general we stay on the same on our let's say our rationale, our investment rationale, and our plan stay exactly the same. Pathology, digital pathology, molecular diagnostic, cardiometabolic diseases, all those are stay, let's say, investments where we want to go. Juan Luis, you mentioned trials. I was talking exclusively about IVDR or diagnostic sector. I didn't want to enlarge our let's say our Roche activity in Spain, including Roche Pharma, which is an important player in Spain, together with ICEX Diagnostics. If I would, let's say, include pharma in the Roche activity, we are talking about around no less around 1.5 between 1.5 1.8 billion euro activity turnover in Spain. The R&D in Spain for pharma is huge. It's absolutely huge. It's I would say best in class in Spanish economy, best in class, and one of the most important, together with DIA, in terms of R&D. So, and again, we are in, let's say, in neurological disease like Alzheimer. You might know that we are very much involved in this unfortunate disease, neurological disease. And so, again, the opportunities in Spain, DIA, Pharma, Roche together are incredibly high. Here we have a lot to do, and most important, Spain is the right place to find those skilled people that you need for that. Today is digital and it's technology, nothing more. So you need them.
Okay, thank you, Carlos, Alberto. So we are already coming to our end. So thank you to both of you for your presentations. Thank you for all the people joining the webinar. This will be available online. So both the presentations and the recording of the webinar will be uploaded on the internet, are publicly available. And of course, we remain at your disposal as the Economic and Trade Bureau of the Spanish Embassy in Bern if you need more information about the potential of Spain as a target for investment in the area of health tech technology. So thank you and have a nice day.